Hey guys, Ash here from cursforward.com, and today we have with us two of the flagship devices in the Android market today. One from Samsung, the Galaxy S4, and another from HTC, the HTC One. So let's go ahead, pit these two against each other and see who comes out on top. First up, let's talk about build and design. The HTC One is a beautifully built phone. It's got an all-metal back with two strips running. These strips are plastic. These are present for the radio and Bluetooth NFC to function because they don't really play nice with the metal back. Over here you've got the 4 megapixel or rather Ultrapixel camera with LED flash, HTC branding, Beats Audio logo. On the front you've got dual front-facing stereo speakers. HTC calls it the boom sound speakers. You've got the 4.7-inch Full HD Super LCD 3 display and the 2 megapixel wide-angle front-facing camera. So the phone looks splendid. It's really very solidly built. HTC even says that it takes about 2 hours for the body to be manufactured. So it's basically a very beautiful device. It feels premium. It weighs about 143 grams and not too heavy but not as light as the Galaxy S4 here. We'll get to the S4 in a moment. So the HTC One really has this premium feel going for it. You take the phone out, it screams for attention. The black is a little subtle. The silver is a little bit more of a head turner. So that's the HTC One. Now coming to the Galaxy S4, you've got the regular plasticky build that we are so familiar with. Some of us hate it and some of us live with it. Nobody really loves it apart from Samsung, I guess. Yes, you've got a user removable bag that houses a 2600 mAh battery. So since the bag can be opened, this can be replaced. You also get a micro SD card slot that the HTC One lacks. You've got a 13 megapixel rear facing camera with LED flash. You've got a 5-inch Full HD Super AMOLED screen here with your front facing camera, sensors. You've got some extra sensors with the S4, the earpiece. As far as buttons go, the HTC One has just a back and a home button. Samsung still sticks to its tried and tested menu, physical home button and back keys. So as far as the way the phones are built, with the Galaxy S4, generally we see a lot of Galaxy devices these days. The Galaxy Grand, Mega, Win, Young, they all look the same. It's the same Galaxy S3 kind of, kind of feel the plastic used, and it does not really feel like a premium device. So as far as the build quality goes, the HTC One wins out hands down. But then again, when it comes to ergonomics, the HTC One is a little bit heavier than the Galaxy S4. The Galaxy S4 weighs 130 grams. The HTC One weighs 143. But that's not a big difference. The difference comes with regards to key placements. Both these phones have IR blasters. The HTC One hides it within the power button, and the Galaxy S4 has it over here. But the disadvantage here is that every time the HTC One does not have a physical home key to wake the device. So every time you need to turn the screen on, you hold the phone this way, you need to maneuver it and then hit the key. That's at the left top corner. And that is possibly the worst place to put the power button. But that's what HTC's decided. With the Galaxy S4, you've got the power button right here, the right where your thumb goes. So if you're a right-hander or if you're a left-hander, where your finger goes. So you can just turn it on and that's it. And even if you don't want to do it, you've got the physical home button which can wake the device on. Well, we've seen devices like the Oppo Find 5 where manufacturers have allowed the device to be, for the screen to be turned on by using the volume keys, and maybe HTC should have gone with something like that at least, but no, you cannot wake the device with the volume keys. You need to maneuver the device in your hand every time that you want to turn the screen on, and that really takes a lot away from, the ergonomics part of this comparison. So again, just to recap, build, the HTC One wins hands down, but when it comes to ergonomics, ease of picking up and using the device, the S4 wins out. So right now, let's get to specs on paper. Well, there are quite a few variants for the S4. Let's just talk about the model that's found in the US, just to compare, because both the US variant of the S4 and the HTC One use the same processor. I have an Indian Galaxy S4, but I'll get to that in a bit. So in the US or Europe, the Galaxy S4 ships with a Snapdragon 600 processor clocked at 1.9 gigahertz. The HTC One, on the other hand, ships with a Snapdragon 600 processor clocked at 1.7 gigahertz. That's a little lower, yes. The S4 has 2 gigs of DDR3 RAM compared to the HTC One, which has 2 gigs of DDR2 RAM. So yes, again, the S4 is faster here. Internationally, in some markets, the Galaxy S4 also ships with an octa-core variant. That is, there are 2 sets of quad cores, the lower powered 1.2 gigahertz A7 cores, and the higher powered 1.6 gigahertz A15 cores. So it kind of switches between both as per the power requirements, and it's basically just like the Tegra 3, the 5+1 processor that we saw in the HTC One X. It's mainly meant to extend battery life. Again, I will be doing a total comparison, of a benchmarking comparison of the 2 variants of the Galaxy S4. As far as the reports that I've read online goes, there's almost nothing between these devices, so don't worry about it. As far as GPU goes, the HTC One has an Adreno 320 GPU. That's a 400 MHz Adreno 320 GPU. The Galaxy S4, the US-UK variant, has the same GPU but at a higher clock speed, 450 MHz. In international markets, the Galaxy S4 uses the PowerVR SGX 544 MP3 GPU. That's kind of from the same family of GPUs found on the iPad. So it's kind of between, the power is kind of between the iPad 3 and the iPad 4. There's not really much to set these devices apart when it comes to specs, but the Galaxy S4 kind of edges ahead due to having a faster processor, with a higher clock speed, a faster RAM, again, higher speed for the GPU. And as far as battery goes, this has a 2600 mAh battery, and the HTC One 2300 mAh battery. We'll come to battery in a bit. So as far as specs go, at least specs on paper, the Galaxy S4 wins out. Let's talk about displays for a bit. Both phones have awesome Full HD displays. The Galaxy S4, a 5-inch Super AMOLED Full HD display, and the HTC One, a 4.7-inch Super LCD 3 display. So since it's 5 inches, the Galaxy S4 has a pixel density of 441 pixels per inch, but since it's smaller, the display is smaller at 4.7 inches, the HTC One has a pixel density of 469 pixels per inch. But anything above 400 doesn't really matter. Usually this is the part where we declare the HTC the winner, just because Samsung uses a pentile matrix. But this time around, with a pixel density over 400 pixels per inch, it's really not noticeable. No matter how hard you look, the fact that the Galaxy S4 uses a pentile Super AMOLED HD display is not noticeable at all. There is no degradation whatsoever. Though the Super AMOLED HD might not display very natural colors, the saturation is definitely toned down when compared to, say, the Galaxy S3. And the fact that the Galaxy S4 has the brighter screen and has better visibility under direct sunlight makes the Galaxy S4 the winner here. Yes, despite the HTC One having a higher pixel density, I'm not really taking that into account, because anything over 400 pixels per inch does not really matter. So the Galaxy S4 has a brighter screen, and again, the Super AMOLED screens have very deep blacks. But if you're someone who cannot stand the saturated colors of the Super AMOLED displays, there are quite a few people who just cannot stand the saturated colors. If you're one among them, you can take this as a win for the HTC One, because it's really just nitpicking here. It boils down to personal choice. For me, it's the Galaxy S4. Let's talk a little bit about software. Both phones run Android Jelly Bean out of the box. The Galaxy S4 running Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean with its custom TouchWiz UI on top. The HTC One running the older variant Android 4.1 with Sense 5 on top. So that's Android 4.1.2. So let's take a look at the Galaxy S4 first. With the latest version of TouchWiz, there are quite a lot of features that have been included by Samsung. There are also a few new sensors. So say for example, to move an icon, you can just use the air gesture. You can do the same with regards to images. Adding to the smart features from last year, we also get the smart scroll and smart pause options. Well, some of these like the smart pause option work really good. Stuff like smart scroll or even the air view option are a little gimmicky. Once the initial novelty of the features die down, you're gonna end up turning it off. And since this is Android 4.2, you get your Android 4.2 options like getting toggles by pulling the bar down with 2 fingers, getting widgets on the lock screen, and so on. Also, quite a few apps that add value like the S Health, which tracks the number of steps you walk, the calories you burn, and so on. It also gives you, and there is also sensors for the humidity and temperature included. There are a lot of features that have been included. Well, I barely managed to cover them all in my 30-minute review of the S4, so I'm not going to get into everything right now. If you want more information, check out my full review of the Galaxy S4. The link is there in the description. Now we get to the HTC One. The HTC One with Sense5 has something called the Blinkfeed. Blinkfeed is kind of like Flipboard for Sense. So instead of a widget, it is a whole home screen. You cannot turn this off. You can, however, change your home screen to anything else. HTC also has a few decent apps. Say for example, the Kid mode. With the Kid mode, you can set a separate account for your kid so that you can control what apps are being accessed by them. You also get a decent car mode. You get enlarged icons, the ability to add more, the currently playing track over here, and since it's a HTC device, you've got the clock and the weather on top. The home button is also deactivated when you're in car mode. And like we saw earlier, for multitasking, you just tap twice on the home button and you get 9 recently opened apps. You can close them by swiping up. Another area where HTC continues to frustrate its customers is the notification bar. The quick toggles that we find with, say, Samsung or even stock Nexus devices these days are missing. When it comes to music playback, both phones have more than capable music players. You can sort stuff by playlists, artists, songs. The Galaxy S4 also gives you the Music Square option. You get folders, DLNA capable devices. With the HTC One, that's again possible by selecting media servers. So the HTC One has a better quality speaker. Let me just play something, just a moment. The Galaxy S4 is louder, whereas the HTC One is clearer. Also, the earphones included with the HTC One sound a lot better. When it comes to video playback, the HTC One has a pretty basic video player. You need to select your videos from the gallery because there's no dedicated app. And it does a fair job. You've got the regular seek bar, but sometimes you run into some issues with codecs. Whereas with the Galaxy S4, the video player is quite advanced. You've got quite a few features. Let me just open up the video player. So you've got your seek bar. Again, AirView works over here. You have the pop-up player to take it out for enhanced multitasking. Double tap to get back, and then you hit the power button and it locks the screen so that you can swipe something off. If you have any dust or dirt on screen, tap it again to enable the controls. So when you lock the screen, your menu button, your back button, everything gets disabled apart from your physical home button. Press and hold the back button on the Galaxy S4 and that opens up the multi-window bar. So with the Galaxy S4, you can even run 2 apps simultaneously. So when it comes to just the raw amount of features that the manufacturer has packed in, the Galaxy S4 definitely has the edge. But there is one little problem. So let's say open the browser. You see that the Galaxy S4 took a little more time even with closing the browser. Okay, let's try something else. Let's load up the cameras. Again, you see the Galaxy S4 is a second behind. Same thing when it comes to closing it. Despite having a faster processor, this is the octa-core variant. Despite having a faster processor and faster RAM, that's DDR3 instead of DDR2, the Galaxy S4 has a tendency to lag at times. In my full review, in the comment section, when people asked me whether it lagged, I said no, because till I used the HTC One, it wasn't obvious because it was fast enough. But when you compare it side by side with the HTC One, you start noticing stuff. It is not as fast as the HTC One as of now. The software has some issues. While talking about software optimization, I just went ahead and did a boot test, and again the HTC One managed to boot up just a second before the Galaxy S4. Let's talk a bit about the cameras. So the Galaxy S4 has a 13 megapixel rear-facing camera, whereas the HTC One has a 4 megapixel rear-facing camera that it likes to call Ultrapixel. Why? Because the pixels are 3 times as large as the ones found in competitors like the Galaxy S4. So this means it effectively can take in more detail and light. So this makes it more effective in a low light situation. So as far as the software goes, both phones have a lot of options. What I like about the HTC One here, okay, let's first talk about the Samsung. With the Samsung Galaxy S4, you can select a best phase or a sound in shot, a drama shot, wherein you can like get multiple images, as in you shoot a sequence of shots, and you can get a multiple images from there, as in you see what's over here. You see someone jumping, and you can like show multiple instances of the same person in one shot. Animated photo, eraser mode, that is if someone walks in the background, you can just remove them. But what I really like about the HTC One is that with the S4, you need to choose this mode beforehand. So if you're in a crowded place, you want to take something, you select the eraser mode beforehand. But with the HTC, everything is incorporated with Zoe. So what Zoe? You tap this and it turns Zoe mode on. Now hit capture. And it takes 20 frames with a 3-second video that includes audio that you record. So this is a Zoe that I took. So once you take the Zoe, you can then go to edit, retouch, and you can do the same. The drama mode is called as sequence shot here. The eraser mode is the object removal. I like the fact that HTC makes you choose, lets you choose what you want to do after you've done the shot rather than before. This I feel is an advantage for the HTC One. Similarly, say you're taking a video. Okay, let me just get back to the camera. So similarly, say you're shooting video. The One doesn't ask you to decide whether you want to turn flash on or off before you start shooting the video. So halfway through the video, if I want, I can turn flash on and then turn it off if the lighting gets better. But with the Galaxy S4, you have video. You cannot turn on or flash halfway through the video. If you're done with the video, for the next video, yes, you can turn flash on prior to shooting. So go into settings, turn flash on, and now shoot the video. It has the flash on. So I kind of feel that the HTC One is the more versatile cam. I'll just show you a sequence of shots. So in a very low light condition where the Galaxy S4 was not able to detect anything, the HTC One got something. In normal low light settings, the HTC One, the performance is impressive. When it comes to bright lights, again the HTC One manages to take decent photos. The Galaxy S4 is definitely better here. Especially when zoomed in, you can see that there is a loss of quality, because at the end of the day, the HTC One has a 4 megapixel camera. To me personally, I kind of feel the HTC One is more useful because there are not a lot of times when I actually zoom in. I use the zoom functionality. We take pictures with our mobile phone cameras just for fun. You're out, you want to capture something, that's fine. It's not really professional looking photos that you're looking for. So a 4 megapixel camera that can do better indoors under low lights, I'm gonna prefer it any day compared to a 13 megapixel camera that can do great outdoors but not quite as good indoors. So that's just me personally. I'm just trying to explain what both have to offer. Both of them have their strengths, both of them have their weaknesses. So it's up to you to choose what works for you. So I'm not gonna say one camera is better than the other. For me personally, it's the HTC One because that's the kind of photos that I end up taking usually. As far as battery life goes, finally HTC has a device that can live up, that can match the battery life provided by the Galaxy series. The HTC One has a 2300 mAh battery compared to a 2600 mAh battery on the Galaxy S4. But the HTC One is clocked lower, and it also has the slower RAM, DDR2. So this results in the HTC One almost matching the Galaxy S4's battery life. So under battery test, that is looping video test, the Galaxy, I got almost the same results with both devices. So the battery life is on par. And in case you were wondering, I got about 10 hours with both devices. As far as benchmarks goes, We ran a couple of popular benchmarks, and the Galaxy S4 did perform better on both the Quadrant Standard and AnTuTu. So what's the better phone, the HTC One or the Galaxy S4? Well, at the moment, theoretically the S4 is supposed to be the better phone. It's got the better specs, it's got the faster processor, better RAM, higher megapixel camera, it's got a lot of features. It should be the better phone, and it is, in some ways it is, because all over this video, right from the start, you've seen both phones trading wins. For me personally, the fact that ever since I used the HTC One, I kind of feel the Galaxy S4 lag every time I use it. Even with all the gestures turned off, it tends to lag a little bit. Unless and until you use the HTC One, you're not going to feel it. I've been using the Oppo Find 5, the Sony Xperia Z, and I really did not have a problem moving to the Galaxy S4. I did not notice anything until I started testing both devices side by side. I really have no issues with the plastic build. I kind of enjoy the fact that I'm able to access my battery and get a micro SD card slot as well. What really irks me about Samsung in general is that every other device that they release is called a Galaxy, and it kind of looks the same, right? From the Galaxy Young, the Galaxy Win, the Galaxy Grand, the Galaxy Mega, the Galaxy Note, and right now you're getting something called the Galaxy S4 Zoom. That's a QHD device with a 16 megapixel camera. So this kind of dilution of the brand is something that bothers me. And maybe if you're someone who's looking to get a premium device, a little bit of exclusiveness, then the Galaxy S4 really wouldn't be the way to go. Because just about every other phone out there that Samsung's selling looks almost the same. Just take the Galaxy Grand for example. You put that on an S3, put it 10 feet apart. I've been using the S3 for about a year now, ever since launch, and even I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So it's little things like this. But then again, when you get to HTC as a manufacturer, you see a manufacturer who's kind of like going wayward. You see HTC with Sense 3.0. Let's take the home screens. They were not infinitely scrollable. That is, at the end of one home screen, you wouldn't be able to, as in at the end of the last home screen, you wouldn't be able to get back to the first. We moved on to Sense 4 Plus, and we got infinite scrolling. At the end of the last home screen, you could get back to the first one. And now we again move on to Sense 5, and it's gone again. Similarly, at one point of time, HTC came out with the quick toggles and the notifications, and then removed it. As far as the button placements go, again, HTC were the first, one of the first manufacturers to jump on to Google's bandwagon and get the back, home, and open apps key onto their HTC One X. But then again, a little later, due to customers' pressure or whatever, they let people remap the open apps button or the reset apps button as the menu button. So fine. So it seems like they understand that people want the menu key, and then they go ahead and remove it with the HTC One. My point here is, how good is the HTC firmware support going to be? Because say the next phone they release, they decide to go a whole different way, it's going to be a little harder for them to bring out firmware updates ported over to the HTC One. So as far as longevity is concerned, I'm a little bit more wary about it when it comes to HTC rather than Samsung, because Samsung is tried and tested. I'm not talking about their mid-end phones. Their top-end devices, the S2, the Note 2, the S3, they've all gotten updates. It's not timely. With Android, you're never going to get it timely. There's no manufacturer who does that. So Samsung is kind of like the lesser of all evils. So that's the fastest you can get on a non-Nexus device. So again, the Galaxy S4 is the first non-Nexus device to run Android 4.2.2. And Jelly Bean 4.2 has been out for quite a few months now. So guys, end of the day, which phone to buy? You've taken a look at this video. It's almost 20 minutes long. You've seen the HTC win some, the Samsung win some. So whichever is more important to you, which of the criteria that you're looking for, whichever phone satisfies it, it should be better for you. For me personally, I'm going with the HTC One. I kind of like the HTC One more than the Galaxy S4. And if for those of you who've been following me for about a year now, it would be a surprise. I'm amazed that I'm saying this because I've been a big Samsung fan. I've bought every device since the Note. Every flagship device since the Note. And that's when I started making videos. Galaxy Note S3, Note 2. I even bought the Galaxy camera. So, you know, I've been pre-ordering it. Every single Samsung device I've pre-ordered it and got it. And HTC One, thanks to the production delays, I almost ended up cancelling my order. I was so frustrated with the One, and I really enjoyed the phone. So that's pretty much it for my comparison, guys. Hope you liked it. What do you think? What do you think is the better phone, the HTC One or the Samsung Galaxy S4? I'd really love to know what you guys think about it. So leave a comment, let me know what you think. And before you go, make sure you give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. So, okay, I think they moved the subscribe button below enough. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. If you want to pick up either of these devices, you can do that from Amazon.com. The direct links are in the description. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys soon with more videos. If you have any requests for me, or if you just want to stay updated on my latest videos and updates, you can hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. All my contact details are in the description, and I'll see you guys soon with another video. Till then, it's Ashia from cursefforward.com signing off. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye now.